Good morning. Big Joe here, along with Jeff Rickard from the Morning Show. And we just wanted to make sure that you know to rise and shine with our new FM frequencies, only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. We're already moved in. Come on over and have a listen.
Yeah, Colts, NFL, life in general, you know it's going to be good. Our next guest, Tony Dungy, the former coach of the Indianapolis Colts, Hall of Famer, best-selling author in the New York Times, you name it, he's done it. He's a really good friend of Indianapolis, a really good friend of the station. Coach, how you doing this morning? Thanks for being here.
Hey, I'm doing well. Excited to talk about a big Colts win and hoping we can keep that momentum going.
Well, happy birthday. And the talk this week has kind of been the biggest wins in Colts regular season history. And I seem to remember a comeback right around your birthday, against Tampa. And then this one maybe a little bit better. I just wonder how you saw it and if you could even take us back to that Tampa game and why we seem to play well around your birthday.
Well, and that's a thing. I should have known how they were going to play. It was unbelievable effort by the Colts on Sunday night. It did remind me of my birthday back in 2003. We didn't get off to a great start in that game either. Fought, persevered, came back and won it. And the Colts, I knew they had the formula to win and to do it. They have a great offensive line. That's one of the weaknesses of Kansas City. Matt Eberflus had a great defensive game plan to try to make Patrick Mahomes make a lot of throws. So you knew all that was going to be there. But when I saw Leonard's not playing, Malik Hooker's not playing, Marlon Mack's banged up, is he going to go? T.Y. questionable. I just said, are we going to have the horses to do it? And I really didn't think so. I thought we'd have a good plan, but maybe just fall a little bit short. But those guys played, they persevered, they fought. It was really, really impressive.
Can you give me a scouting report on Quintin Nelson, not only as a head coach, but also as just somebody who enjoys watching football?
Well, he's a unique player, and they talked about it on the show, Al and Chris Collinsworth, that, offensive guards getting drafted in the top 10, it's so rare because that's not a position that you normally think can impact a game so much. When you draft in the top 10, you say, hey, I want to get a difference maker. So for the Colts organization to say this guy as an offensive guard who never is going to touch the ball is going to be a difference maker, that's just crazy, but that's what he is. Just the ability to pound those inside runs, to pass protect against great offensive linemen or against great defensive linemen. But more than that, the tone that he sets. Mike Webster, I played with him in Pittsburgh, running in and out of the huddle, running downfield, picking up running backs after they get tackled. Just that camaraderie and that energy. He brings so much more than just what happens when the ball is snapped.
Coach, this game on Sunday, we had yet to see all three phases play together. We saw a defense that was deficient against the run, especially rush per attempt. We also saw that they were having trouble getting pressure on quarterbacks. And then after that Oakland game, we saw an offensive line that normally dominates that looked like they got dominated a little bit, and you lost the trench warfare there against Oakland. How all of a sudden did all those three things get back together and then play the best game that they played all year long?
Well, sometimes it is those circumstances. When you go on the road, you're playing against arguably who people said is one of the two best teams in the league. You know you're going to have to bring your best, and then you're shorthanded. Hey, we're not going to have certain guys. So everybody else has to pick it up, and I think that's what happened. They just took it upon themselves. I've got to play my best game of the year, and if we get 45 guys to do that, we're going to be okay. If we have anything short of that, it's going to be tough. And I think that's what you got, all 45 guys just determined to play their best game of the year.
Tony Dungy joining us on the Payless Liquors hotline right now on the Fan Morning Show with Jeff and Big Joe. And, Coach, talk to me a little bit about why you think Frank Reich has had so much success just with his first year and a quarter of being a head coach. He seems to inspire belief in the guys. They have a lot of faith in him. He continues to come up with inventive, creative game plans. He seems to know which buttons to push at the right time. What makes him able to do all those things?
Well, Frank is smart. He knows football. He's been around some of the best minds in the game, all that time with Marv Levy and Buffalo and seeing different game plans that they created and than being with Andy Reid and Doug Peterson. That helps you. But more than anything, Frank is a winner and he's a leader. And I know that's what Chris Ballard was looking for when he went out on that coaching search. There's a lot of guys who know X's and O's, a lot of guys who can put smart game plans together. But how do you lead? How do you get people to bounce back from a subpar performance at home in a game that everybody thought they should win and have the confidence to go on the road in a very hostile environment and think that we can beat these guys. We can take these guys down, and we're not going to be shocked when we do it. And having that ability to create that in people, that's the secret, and that's what Frank has.
You also, when you were coach, had some unique abilities, and your calm demeanor was one of them. But one of the things I don't know if people give you enough credit for, actually realize what you did, is your knowledge of every single player on your team, and that came from you running the scout team. You wanted to know what these guys could and couldn't do. You coached them up when you were there, and I'm just wondering, when you see this and the importance of having depth and the importance of having to play so many young players these days, and we see so many rookies playing for the Colts right now. How much is that coaching important, and how much of it is Chris Ballard making sure you draft the right guys that can be an integral piece and can fit right away into the system?
Well, it definitely works together. It is drafting the right guys who are smart and self-motivated and hardworking and will put the time in. But then you're right. It's Frank Reich and that coaching staff getting to know them, getting to understand them, and hey, this guy isn't a household word, but he may have to play for us at some point. And when he does, I need to know what he does well. I need to be able to hide his deficiencies a little bit, put him in situations where he can be successful. And they've done a great job of that. As you see these young guys come in the lineup at all kinds of positions and succeed. But it really is a two-way street between the front office and the coaching staff.
Tony, I do want to talk a little bit about your book, and that's not necessarily why we had you on here, but your latest one is called The Soul of a Team, and I'll be honest with you, I can't wait to read it. What am I going to find in there, and what prompted you to write this book?
Well, you're going to find a lot of just what we're talking about. How do you put a winning organization together? How do you get a team to gel and come together and believe in itself? And people have asked me since I've retired, a lot, come in and speak to high school teams, college teams, corporations, churches. Hey, how can we get our maximum out of the group that we have? And so I thought putting it down, some of the principles I learned from my parents, that I learned from Coach Knoll in Pittsburgh, and just spelling that out. But it really is being selfless, being on one accord, being unified and unselfish, and then having a larger purpose. That's kind of the core of the book, SOUL, and that's what good teams have.
You kind of described Jacoby Brissett there a little bit in what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just sitting there thinking, because I'm intrigued. You heard the Dan Dockich promo there, where he's a fan of Jacoby this week, kind of thing. I've been a Jacoby fan ever since he got here. The leadership of him has just been unbelievable. But Frank's got him in a system now that works for him, and he's just such a selfless guy. It really helps.
He is. He's all about winning. You see that Patriots influence. And I'll tell you what, I was up there. They had Alumni Day during training camp, and I was there when the whole Andrew Luck thing played out. And it surprised me. It shocked me. But I can tell you, those players did not have a worry in the world. They were firmly behind Jacoby. We can win with this guy. He's our quarterback now. He had taken all the work in the spring and the summer, so it wasn't like, all of a sudden we've got to put him in. He had been in there, and they'd been around him and seen what he could do. They were very, very confident.
Your personal relationship with players, obviously you've led these guys, on the field, but I know you continue on after, careers are over, and I always enjoy seeing it. I know we even talked the last time you were in, and I'm just wondering, when you see Dwight Freeney, he's going to go in the Dolphins game. Do you have plans on being back for that, and what does that mean for?
I could. It's just, I need these events to be on Thursday night or Monday night. I'm going to miss that. Ronde Barber went in Tampa last week, and I had to send a video message. But yeah, it's really. I can't tell you how gratifying it is, and for me, this is extra special. Dwight was our first pick ever when I was there, and Bill Poley and I, we spent a lot of time on the treadmill talking through that. We had 6 or 7 guys were considering, and Bill's just saying, this guy, from what you described about your defense, he's perfect. And I remember when we finally came to the conclusion we were going to do it, was on the treadmill. Said we're not going to think anymore. We're not going to exercise any trade talk. We're taking this guy at 11, and it was one of the best decisions we ever made.
But his size was so out of the ordinary. And so what was it about him that you were like, no, this guy could be great?
Well, it's funny because when I got there, Bill was asking me what I'm looking for in players, and I go back to Coach Knoll. Hey, we want explosiveness, we want speed, we want quickness, we want toughness, we want mental toughness, all of those things. And size was at the very, very bottom of the list. Jack Lambert was a 6'5", 205-pound middle linebacker when I went to the Steelers. Ward Dunn was a 5'8", 170-pound featured running back when I was in Tampa. And I just learned that size, it's a factor, but it's not the biggest factor. So we kind of threw that out with Dwight. We watched him play. We watched him play a game against Bryant McKinney when he was at Syracuse. McKinney was at Miami. Bryant McKinney 6'7", 325, and he had his hands full with Dwight. And we said, who's he going to play in the NFL any bigger and stronger and better than that? And the size didn't matter.
Coach, here's my one hard question for you, because I talk about this all the time. The Tampa 2 is an unbelievable defense, and nobody ran it better than you, obviously. But do you need an elite, not just a good, but an elite edge rusher and 1 or 2 exceptional linebackers to make that thing truly work?
Well, in any scheme, you need elite players to make it work at the highest level in Super Bowl games and that type of thing. But, yes, the key to the whole thing, you've got to create pass rush and pressure on the passer without blitzing. If you can do that, that scheme is going to be successful. If you can't, if you have to blitz, then you got to be perfect everywhere else. You can find those linebackers who can run and hit and be exceptional, but the hard thing is to find those rushers who can beat 5-on-4 blocking consistently.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Coach, latest book is Soul of a Team, and normally I'm not a big pitch man, but I can't wait to read the book. I'm just really looking forward to that, and I think it's probably going to be a good book for anybody, as you said, that's trying to put together a winning, whatever that means to that particular organization, but a winning entity. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, sir.
Right. Well, thank you very much. It's fun, and it's going to describe, I think, this 2019 Colts team. Even though it's a fictitious story, there's going to be a lot that will remind you of this group.
I like it. I'm looking forward to it. We will talk to you again very soon. Travel safe.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Coach.